Hello. In this NCERT series, now we'll see the next chapter, what books and burials tells us. In the previous chapter, we have seen there are some sources, some ways to know about the past. What are the ways? One is through the books, or another is through the excavations of archaeologists. So books and other inscriptions that they have written on, maybe called manuscripts, right? That they have written on palm leaves or bark of a tree or stones, etc. So that can be a source about their lives. And the other is archaeological excavation. So archaeologists dig deeper, and what they found, they send to the research, and they find the time period and all the other lifestyle of that particular period, right? So in this chapter we'll see what books and burials have told us. First, we move on to books. So one of the oldest books that we know are Vedas. So Rig Veda is the oldest Veda, or we say the oldest book we know in the ancient history. Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvana Veda. So what does these Vedas contains? So Vedas contains hymns. So what are these things? These are like some sort of songs or poems that we sing in the praise of someone. So here in Rig Veda we sing hymns. So we find hymns in the praise of gods like Agni, Indra and Soma. Agni is fire, Indra is known as a warrior god, and Soma is a kind of tree. Okay, so these are the hymns that we find in Rig Veda. Okay. Then we have Samaveda. Samaveda contains the religious rituals. So Indian music they say Indian music is also a part of Samaveda. We have extracted the knowledge of Indian music from Samaveda. Then we have Yajurveda, and Yajurveda contains the instructions for religious rituals. Okay. Then we have Atharvana Veda. Atharvana Veda contains spells or some kind of mantras that we use against enemies or sorcerers, or to cure any diseases. This is what contains in Atharvana Veda. So Rig Veda contains hymns on the praise of Agni, Indra, Soma and other gods. So Samaveda contains like the tune for religious rituals or the mantras, and also religious rituals in religious rituals, and the essence of Indian music is also written in Samaveda. In Yajurveda we find the instructions to religious rituals, how they have to be conducted and all, so we find in Yajurveda. In Atharvana Veda we find the spells against enemies and other sorcerers, or to cure any diseases. These are all embedded in Atharvana Veda. Okay. So Rig Veda we have seen Agni, Indra and Soma. So in which language they all are written? They are written in the language of Sanskrit, in the old Vedic Sanskrit, not modern Sanskrit. In the old Vedic Sanskrit, all the Vedas have been written. So where has the Sanskrit come from? So Sanskrit is a language of the Indo-European family. We say generally there are different families for each language. So each language belongs to a separate family kind of thing. So Sanskrit belongs to Indo-European family. So what are the other languages in the Indo-European family? Those are like we have find Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, and other languages like Persian. Okay, those all come under this Indo-German family. And European languages we have French, Greek, Italian, German, Spanish. Say they also belong to this Indo-German family. So when in one family, so you find some of the similarities between one language and another language. So you can find some similarities in all these languages. Okay. Then in the southern India, so what are the languages of southern India? Kannada, Tamil, Telugu and Malayalam. So mainly these are the languages of the southern India. So to which family they belong to? They belong to the family of Dravidian family. And then northeast, they have a language. Okay, their languages belong to the family of Tibeto-Burman family. Then Jharkhand and central India, so they have a language which belongs to the family of Austro-Asiatic family. Okay, so now let's recap once again. So Sanskrit belongs to Indo-European culture, and what are the other languages in Indo-European family? Gujarati, Assamese, Hindi, Kashmiri, Sindhi, and Asian languages, other languages out of India are Persian. Okay, and European languages are French, German, Italian, Spanish, and also Greek. They belong to this particular family, Indo-European family. So whenever different languages belong to one particular family, it means that some of the words are similar in their languages. Then the south, this part, what are the languages? Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, and Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, and Malayalam. So these belong to the family of Dravidian family. And Northeast India, they belong to the family of Tibeto-Burman family. And Jharkhand and Central India, they belong to the family of Austro-Asiatic family. So India has a varied number of languages, and each of them has origin somewhere else. Okay. So we have seen the type of worships, right? They worship fire, Agni, and trees and plants. We have seen Soma and the warrior king Indra, and they also worship rivers. We find a lot of hymns and poems on the worship of rivers, and also air. So all these natural elements, and also mainly you see the natural elements have been worshipped during this period. Okay, so we talked about it contains some hymns, right? So against what? So on what? It has prayers on cattle. It has prayers on wars and how they have to be performed, and it has some yagnas. What are yagnas? That means there are some group of sages sit, and they provide their offerings to the fire. So that is called as yagna. You have been seeing in many movies and such, right? And also some of the sacrifices or yagas are performed, like Ashwamedha Yaga, Rajasuya Yaga, and Vajpayee Yaga. So what is Ashwamedha Yaga? So basically a king, he brings a horse, right? He brings a horse. So he starts the horse, and it is a rule that wherever the horse moves, it may be out of the kingdom also, right? So the horse moves all over the country. So wherever the horse moves, the kingdom will be annexed and given to this raja. Okay, if suppose a king has stopped the horse, so then he had to fight with this king who has started the yaga. In case the other king in whose kingdom the horse has come, if he is silent, that means he has accepted that this raja can take his kingdom and rule accordingly. If he has stopped this horse, that means this guy has to fight with this raja. So this was the concept of Ashwamedha Yaga. Similarly, we had Rajasuya Yaga and Vajpaya and the chariot race, etc. So all these were yagas which were mentioned. Then, kind of how are the wars and other conquests considered? There is no regular army as such. Later on we'll see that kings had regular army, they used to give regular salaries and all, and etc., right? And a uniform and all. But in this age they didn't have a regular army. So they used to all used to come sit, they used to form a meeting, and then they used to inculcate some strategies and all, and they used to wage wars. This was the army system. And how were the people in the society divided? People were divided into two divisions, like one were Brahmins and one were Rajas. So Brahmins, we know they are priests and they perform religious rituals, and Rajas are other people. So and again, so these are the different categories of people, and once they are and all these different a group of people, we say group of people or group of villagers, they are called as jana or vish. So a group of villagers or group of people, we term them as jana or vish. Okay, then there is a belief that all these hymns, like in Vedas and all, they are composed by Aryas, and people who are opposing them, they are called Dasas or Dasyas. So Aryas and Dasyas or Dasas. So who are they? What is meant by Dasa? That is mean a slave or a servant. So Aryas were considered as superior, and they considered Dasas or Dasyas as a slave to them, and they used to impose the superiority on these people. Okay, then so we have got to know about books. So we'll move on to burial. So through these books we have seen how the worship was being conducted, how what languages like anything, and what were the other livelihood they have taken up, and the types of kingdoms, and the people, how the society was divided. All these things we have known through the books. Now we'll move on to burials. So we have seen megaliths in the previous chapter, right? There are like the stone constructions on a particular place like this, right? So what does it mean? It means that it is to identify a burial. So there may be some burial underground. So identify that kind of thing. We had a thing called megalith. That means a large stone boulders will be erected. So to identify that there is a burial structure over there. Sometimes megaliths can be over the ground, or sometimes they may be under the ground. It depends. You can refer to the previous chapter to know more about megaliths and how they are constructed, and the pictorial representation also we have given over there. Okay, so it was built around 3000 years ago. One of the thing we have seen in the previous chapter is it was built during the Neolithic period. So what are the main sites of megaliths? They are Adichanallur, Nagarjunakonda, Brahmagiri and Kashmir. Okay, so megalithic sites we have seen Adichanallur, right, Brahmagiri and Nagarjuna Konda. So, and also we have seen some parts of country the burials are buried, the people are buried along with the goats, because they can uh, help people after in the another world. So even after death, if they want any food or any kind of thing, so that the goats are buried like that, right? So here we have found uh, black and red ware, right? So what are these utensils? Black and red type of pottery utensils we have found in the burials. And then iron weapons, stone tools, gold ornaments that they possess, all were also in the burials. Okay, sometimes we see more than one people buried, or maybe that means the place is being vacant for the family. Like if any family member of their own family dies, they will being buried in the same family, in the same burial. Okay, that is also seen here. In the previous video, we have seen a place called Inamgaon. What is Inamgaon? It is where the earlier cities have flourished, right? Here. So we have also got a fact here, right? Where does this Imangaon is situated? On the banks of river Ghor. Yes, we have seen in the previous video. It is on the banks of river, Ghor. So what is river Ghor? It is a tributary of river Bhima. Okay. So what did you find in Imangaon? In Imangaon we found burials within the houses. Okay, there were burials within the houses, and houses also had this granary and all. Okay, so why we are most interested in knowing all these things, like what were their people, like the burials, the skeletons, and the black and red ware, or the pottery, like what we have seen. Yes, why are we interested in this, and what we'll actually know about this? So it gives you a picture of the how did the female live, how did the man live, okay, and what kind of utensils they have used, and the number of bones. Sometimes they count the number of bones, and if there is any change between during that period and this period, right? All of these they can study. One important note here is the Charaka Samhita. You have been heard about that maybe. So Charaka Samhita is a book which is written almost 2000 years ago. So who is Charaka? He is a famous physician, and he has written a book called Charaka Samhita. That means it's a book on medicine. It is known as the first book of medicine. So he states that there are 360 bones in the human body, but now we know we have only 206 bones in the human body. So maybe it is like the people or the formation of bodies are changed or what, right? That research helps in the particular excavations. Okay. Then, what is the kind of agriculture followed in Imangaon? As we know, the oldest crops grown were rice, wheat, and barley. And also in Harappan culture, we have seen what are the crops grown: pulses, peas, sesame, millets, linseed, mustard, etc. All right. So here also the same thing: rice, wheat, barley, pulses, peas, sesame, and millets. Okay. And there were also traces of, like, they got to know that people also ate meat of what animals: cattle, buffalo, goat, deer, mongoose, fish, crab, etc. Right. So we have seen in Neolithic period there were also some sort of occupation like fishing. So it's obvious that you'll find the meats of fish and crab. Okay, so these animals were also used for the animal breeding and store and in helping purposes, and also as a meat. And what are the type of fruits they have eaten? That is bear, like bear fruit, amla fruit, jamun, berries, and dates, etc. Okay, these were all the fruits they have eaten. So here we have the map. What is Iman Gaon? We have seen on the banks of river God in the Bhima river. All these details belong to the Iman Gaon site. Then we have megalithic sites. What are megaliths? Burials. To get a more detailed concept of this, you can watch the previous video. Where are the megalithic sites? Brahmagiri and Adichanallur, and also Nagarjuna Konda. Okay. So here ends today's lecture. We'll meet in the next video.